Hi, everybody.
Hi!
Welcome back.
Those who are watching can see. Maybe you guys listening can't tell, but we're together!
Yeah, we're recording together.
Yes!
For the first time since episode 2.
Yep. Man, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was I mean, not that we're great now.
Yeah,
But
that was quite an experiment. I'll say that. We had no idea what we were doing.
The first few episodes, whew.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully you've noticed an improvement.
Yeah, we're slowly getting better.
At least in how I talk. I feel like I was so nervous to talk into a mic, and now I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, I will say I do feel a lot more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was just nervous now that we're together doing it. I don't know why I was like, this is different.
It is different.
It
took us 20 minutes to figure out how to get both of our mics synced.
She lying. It was like an hour. Like if we collectively put the time that has cost us to try and figure out how to freaking do this over 2 days.
Yeah.
It was definitely...
Yeah, we had to overnight ship some stuff from Amazon because we didn't have all the right equipment.
This tech thing is bullshit.
Yeah. Not our forte.
No.
Well, look, we did it. We figured it out. We're doing it.
I mean, we hope. It looks like it's working.
Yeah, I hope you can hear us okay. I'll know when I edit.
God, I mean, if it doesn't work, then you're not getting an episode of us together.
Yeah, I guess not.
So if you're listening to this right now, by golly, it worked.
And if you're watching on YouTube, as you can see, there's a little creeper visitor in the background.
Yeah, we can't control that.
Yeah, she's nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, we're having a great time up here with my little visit. It's almost over, sadly.
Yeah, 2 more days.
Yeah. But we are pre-recording for this episode. So this won't be released till November.
The last Thursday of November.
Yeah, so you're listening to this. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're all eating some good food and that you don't have to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoying your holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Save your money. Don't give it to corporate companies.
Yeah. Get ready for Black Friday tomorrow.
Yeah. Watch some football.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, and it's my birthday.
Hell yeah, brother.
My birthday is sadly on Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, damn. At least you get fat on Thanksgiving. Somebody cooks you a meal. Mom and Dad will probably cook.
That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm gonna be talking about a Thanksgiving Day disaster.
Yay! Let's get started.
So, all right. In 1897, on Thanksgiving Day, fans of Stanford Cardinals and Berkeley were getting up for a college football showdown. By the half time, the Cardinals were leading by 16 points. But the score was the least of J.C. Wyer's concerns when he was attending this game. J.C. was the contractor who was hired to build the stands that these fans were standing on. The specific area of the stands that he was concerned about appeared to be crowded with upwards of 15,000 people when it was only built to withstand about 10,000 people.
What?
Yeah.
Why would they let that many people up there?
I think back then, I mean, I don't think anybody at this time was regulating anything. I think it was kind of just... What year was this? 1897.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think anybody was really regulating that. But back then, he cared about his job. I mean, he was sitting there able to see that there was an impending disaster, so... he also witnessed people climb the fence so that they didn't have to pay to get in, and then they set up on the roofs of the stands. And these roofs were only built to block out the rain. They were not intended to hold the weight of people's bodies. Okay. Yeah. He tried to stop the impending disaster by warning the students that he saw that he thought were possibly in charge. And he even shouted warnings to the fans that were standing in the stands, but his cries were ignored. While JC watched with anxiety as the game slowly came to an end, With seconds left on the clock, a horrible crash caught JC's attention as he watched the roof over the grandstands collapse under the weight of all the people. Absolute chaos happened. Next, fans rushed from the stands to the field. Scared people were jumping fences and battling for an exit to get away. Others rushed through the rubble to hopefully help victims. Digging through broken beams and twisted metal, some were found unconscious and bloody, but most were unhurt.
Okay.
Rumors flew through the crowds about the staggering number of dead, but this wasn't true at all. Actually, when everyone was dug from the wreckage, it was found only a 10-year-old boy who was thrown from the roof needed to go to the hospital. Mm. A witness whose wife was struck in the head by a beam is quoted saying, "How that many people were not killed or maimed for life is simply miraculous."
Yeah, that is surprising.
Yeah, and also saying that the 10-year-old boy was the only one that had to go to the hospital, and then hearing a witness who got struck in the head with a beam. I think it's also a different time. You know, we're not going to the hospital back then for things that maybe
unless you're dying, I guess.
Yeah, it's a different time for sure. So now, only 3 years later, coincidentally, on Thanksgiving Day again, on the West Coast, back in 1900, the entire town of San Francisco was pumped for the upcoming game again.
You said 1900?
1900, so yep. So we were in 1997, now we're...
1897.
I know, I wrote that 1,000 times and I was like, make sure you say 18. But no, we're in 1900 now. And many of you listening may have some traditions like family, with your family during this time of year. You're probably listening to this, hopefully either already did them or you're going to do them. But we all gather at my house with my mom and nan cooking away, and the smell of turkey and pumpkin pie is in the air while we all have the Thanksgiving game on the television.
I love pumpkin pie.
Hell yeah, brother. Give me some green bean casserole. I'm a controversial one. For the town of San Francisco, this game was a little different. The hype between the rival teams grew every year since longer then, but every year their rivalry grew. The Stanford Cardinals and the Cal Barkley were throwing down at the San Francisco Recreation Park on November 29th, 1900. This tension had been building over the years, and even back in 1892, future U.S. President Herbert Hoover had bets in on this game. He showed up ready for the showdown until that he realized that he was responsible for bringing the ball for the game.
Oh.
And he had forgotten it.
Oh, no.
Oh, I can get technology.
He had one job.
I know. So when he figured out that he was responsible for that and forgot it, it delayed the game, of course. Stanford wound up winning that night, bringing Hoover in around $30,000 in winnings.
Wow.
He is quoted saying, quote, "I had never seen $30,000 before," which that is about $1 million in today's money. $1 million is one in a bet of a football game. In 1898, during another showdown, Mayor James Phelan offered up 2 bronze statues to the winners, and this time Barkley won, taking home the trophies and adding it as their first piece of art displayed on their campus. So at the 1900s game, this was another huge opportunity for Berkeley to take another trophy home. Local businesses capitalized on opportunities to sell merchandise, repping dark red for the Cardinals and blue and gold for Barkley. This game had a 10-7 odds on the Cardinals that they would win, so nobody expected it to be like a blowout or anything like that. They anticipated a pretty good matchup between them, and around 19,000 people filed into the stadium to watch the game. And that was the biggest crowd that they had had so far.
Okay.
It was $1 to attend this game.
Wow.
Which is around $40 nowadays. Now, and I didn't look up what a college game would be to attend now, but I bet $40 is probably a good deal.
Yeah.
A lot of fans, from both teams, were unable to afford the price, back then.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't stop these fans from enjoying some pigskin. The area around the stadium was an industrial area with a bunch of factories and local businesses around. There were also a lot of Irish and German immigrants that lived around the stadium. The stadium is located on 16th Street, and in 1906, an earthquake destroyed it, so it was rebuilt in another location. Across the street on 15th Street was a newly renovated small business called Pacific Glassworks. The entire month of November, the owner was getting the store ready to crank out some products that Monday after the holiday. The building had two separate 100-foot long sections, each with a furnace in each section.
Okay.
So you know what a furnace is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and we're working with glass here, so like an industrial size type of thing. The building was also surrounded by two different fences. On one side, you have an 8-foot wood fence topped with 2 feet of barbed wire, and on the other side was a 12-foot fence. And on Thanksgiving Day, one of the furnaces were kept hot over the weekend. The furnace was heated by oil that was fed through pipes that ran along the side of it. The furnace was surrounded by fire bricks to keep the whole furnace in place. It was 30 feet by 60 feet and held a peak temperature of 3,000 degrees. Yeah. With 14 tons of molten glass that they kept hot over the weekend inside because they were getting ready to make things.
Yeah.
So they kept it going. The fire bricks surrounding the furnace held a temperature of 500 degrees. So it's hotter than hell in there.
Yeah.
The workers at the glass shop tried their best to keep people from coming into the business to watch the game on the roof. And this is where the vent for the furnace was. And the roof, again, was not built to hold a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. The stands started filling around 10:30 that morning, with the game set to kick off at 2:30. Between 500 and 1,000 fans crowded the glass store to watch the game on the roof of that building.
Why would you want to watch on the roof?
They couldn't see. Like, they had to, that was, one of the buildings with a prime view.
You can't get in, well, then you don't get to watch. Sorry.
Oh, man. Well, and I point this out later. My foot's already asleep. I point this out later. All the victims are men and young boys. So, yeah. I mean, not to, sit here and stereotype, but you ain't going to keep your men from that football, you know what I mean?
It's not, yeah.
And also, a whole crowd was doing it. Mm-hmm. 500 to 1,000 people, you see that many people doing something.
You're going to join in.
Yeah.
We just followers.
Yeah, we just made a line ourselves the other day, having no clue.
Yeah,
right. We did. We started a line, having no clue we were standing in the right spot.
Yep, and then 30, 40 people lined up behind us.
Yeah, so we right there. So people start
they follow.
Yeah, they're gonna follow in. That's a perfect example. Yeah, one of the men who was on the roof with everyone is quoted saying, and this is kind of morbid because of what happens, quote, "All of us were laughing and jesting, and some of the fellows said, if this thing breaks, we'll all go down together." End quote.
Could they not, was the roof hot? Could they feel that from the building below?
I mean, I would think it would be. I would think it would be warm.
Feeling some sort of heat, I guess, yeah.
I would think so. You know what I mean?
That would make me nervous alone.
Just feeling warm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the furnace, the exhaust is coming right out. Yeah. That has to, it's 3,000 degrees inside. You cannot tell me that thing's not. They had to have felt that, yeah. With that being said, some of the people could feel the danger and did wind up getting down. 11-year-old Herman Guthering had tried to crawl under the fence to get into the game, but was caught. He then tried climbing up a water tower, but it came with an obstructed view of the game. He finally joined the crowd on the roof. Guthering was later quoted saying, quote, "There was a watchman there, but it was like trying to turn back the waves at the beach. The kids kept pouring through the fence, anxious to see the kickoff.
An 11-year-old made that quote?
This was a quote later on that he made. Like later on in life, he made this. Yes,
that's pretty profound.
No, yeah, it is right. He later on when he was in it. This is a later interview that that's quote is from.
That makes more sense.
Sorry, I probably should have put that. But maybe he was a really intelligent 11-year-old.
Maybe he was. You never know.
Yeah, he's a fucking poet at that age, right? Employees, including James Davis, the superintendent, tried to call police to help, but they did nothing. There were 60 officers working the game that day, and none of them helped when Davis approached the gate with his concerns. And police denied that they did that. Of course, like even back then, the police were like, nah. About 20 minutes after kickoff, as the unsuspecting fans enjoyed watching the free game on the roof of the building, it collapsed. Between 100 people fell 4 stories to the floor below, and 60 to 100 others fell directly onto the furnace with an external temperature of 500 degrees. As bodies were pinned by falling debris, those that fell on top of the furnace didn't stand a chance to save themselves. The collapse also broke off the pipes that ran the oil to the furnace, spraying multiple victims with scalding hot oil. Scalding, yeah. Hot, it's probably boiling.
Yeah.
This oil also did catch fire in the chaos, burning additional bodies. Until help arrived, employees of glassworks used metal poles attempting to remove the bodies on the furnaces, literally burning.
Like alive?
If they were still alive, yeah. I mean, some of them were. All of the victims were male. Most of them were minors.
That's sad.
Yeah. I mean, and it makes sense because it was obviously either low class or just people who didn't have money to attend these games. So the heroes that stepped in included the workers of the factory, doctors and nurses who were in the area and happened upon the tragedy, and 2 names reported in the newspapers for their heroic efforts were Charles Yachts, an oven man at the glassworks, and Clarence Jeter. Even others that experienced the collapse tried their best to help all the victims that they could. Jetter's quick thinking probably saved so many people when he rushed to turn the valve off for the hot oil. Okay. He then pulled 9 people from the burning furnace. He is quoted saying, quote, "It was a horrible experience standing there beside a hell pot and seeing human beings roast to death."
Yeah, I can imagine.
End quote. I could not, yeah.
That poor man would need therapy afterwards.
Yeah. I could not imagine this chaos that is ensuing in a matter of minutes.
And it's a very brutal way to go.
And it's a time sensitive. I mean, we're not even I feel like you have more time somebody's bleeding out, not somebody literally on a 500 degree oven. You need to get them off if they even stand a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't imagine the burns.
Yacht saved at least 20 people from the furnace, burning his hands in the process. It was reported those men still went to work that day.
Wow.
Yeah. But there were countless people helping people get to the hospital or to home. A small boy was reported by witnesses helping the wounded as well. Firefighters arrived and were helping get people where they needed to go, hoping to save as many people as possible, of course. A firefighter named T.J. Parker was making his way through the bloody bodies of the injured when the delicate features of a 10-year-old boy caught his attention. It took Parker seconds for him to realize the bloody boy was his son, Francis.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He was rushed to the hospital where they discovered internal bleeding, a skull fracture, and a broken arm.
Wow.
I couldn't confirm if he did die, but he was not among the victims that I could find information on.
Okay.
So
You
I'm
probably
hoping that
did. Yeah.
he recovered
Hopefully.
because I'm hoping that I got the proper information of the victims here.
Yeah.
I couldn't confirm blah blah blah. Oh, I said that right. I couldn't confirm if he died or not among the information. Many firefighters, including off-duty fireman John Blythe, were helping victims still trapped in the rafters of the roof. A survivor relived that day saying, quote, "Bodies were falling like hail. As I clung there, I saw the poor fellow who had been chatting with me strike the furnace. He curled up like a worm in the heat."
Oh.
End quote. Is that not terrible?
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Oh.
That's sickening, right?
Yeah.
That's to picture, like, I have a photographic, like, picture memory type thing, and my imagination, that's terrible.
Was that just him like giving up? Here, I'm gonna die.
No, I bet it was so hot it cooked him. He had to like literally, it probably was so hot it hit him. It was an unconscious decision to curl up, like probably. A dying fetal position, like being plunged into ice water. You want to curl up, probably the same thing.
Probably.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine also the smell.
Yeah. Burning flesh does not.
I could not even imagine. Because it's not. That's probably like the burning flesh probably permeated the air, but like also like it's a burning building, like everything's falling down around, like it's chaos. The community really came together, getting people to the hospital, even on horseback, or anything with wheels they used to get them to the hospital. But the hospitals were quickly outnumbered with patients. They called all hands on deck for the staff and even asked for volunteers. Remember, it's Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
So everyone is probably enjoying their holiday, stuffing their face. Yeah, like at their table, dining room table with family, like probably being ripped away from family. But I mean, it was an emergency, so it really seemed like everybody came together. People from all walks of life volunteered, learning how to dress wounds and help any way that they could. So again, another example of it being a different time, where people just didn't off the street. You can't do that now, like liability and all that stuff. Back then, it was like, here's some bandages, bandage this up.
Yeah, I don't know how willing people would be to even help today either, though.
That's true too. Even if they could, allowed, even if they, that's very, very true. This is quoted from the Cal, quote, "Little boys in knee breeches were laid on the floor all along the length of the hall, some withering in pain and calling to father and mother."
That's so sad.
I know. And I'll go over the victims then, and you will see how young a lot of these victims were. Yeah. People worked diligently in the days after collapse to get the story correct. Did I say people worked diligently? I meant police worked diligently. I mean, people were working diligently too, but the police finally stepped up now that the disaster happened.
Now they have to.
So the police came in now that the disaster happened, and they worked diligently in the days after the collapse to get the story correct on what exactly had happened. Over 200 people were interviewed over the next few days. On December 5th, 50 witnesses were interviewed for the official investigation, and there was a court hearing about who is to blame for this incident. Victims, firefighters, police, and glassworks employees all testified in the courtroom, reliving that terrifying experience. Jurors were vocally upset with how the police handled this situation, but in the end, it was determined that the victims were the only ones to blame for this accident.
I really don't think you can point fingers at any one person.
No.
People just wanted to watch the game and did what they wanted.
Yeah, people were, Because, like, you can't, I don't know, I didn't read anything that they were trying to, like, get the glasswork shop people, but like
Oh.
in the end they try to get the police. And
Mhm.
like, I mean, I agree with the juror what they said, but what are
Mhm.
people? What are you gonna do about the
Right.
police? You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, yeah, they should have discouraged people from going up there or forced them to get down or whatever. But
Yeah. But they weren't listening. They didn't even
yeah.
come over or anything.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
glasswork people were trying to. And those people, poor people, are not traumatized.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, even though they tried to do the right thing and get the
Mhm.
police and stuff. So one juror is quoted saying, "quote It is very strange that the police officials did not detail enough men to the football game to keep from the football game to keep people from crowding dangerous places." Because I mean, I'm sure there were other places that were
Oh,
probably being
I'm
crowded.
sure. Yeah.
This is just the one that wound up ending it,
Collapsing.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way it did. Because you can't tell me that was not probably everybody in town that wanted to see this game.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
those are just the ones that crowded that area.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Newspapers barely reported on this incident right away because they were more worried about the huge rival game that happened. And if you're curious, the game continued while the chaos continued through the game just across the street. Stanford won the game with a field goal. A quote from the Cal newspaper posted on the front page, quote, "It was perhaps the most horrifying accident that ever happened in San Francisco," end quote. This was the last year the rival game was held at Stanford solely after they began. This is Jesus Christ.
Wasn't there a San Francisco fire
Was there?
that was like really famous and terrible?
Probably. It sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah.
We could cover something like that.
Yeah.
Put it on the list. Uh, this was the last year the rival game was held at Stanford solely after they began alternating stadiums and also held the game earlier, avoiding the holiday. I prefer to keep the victims in this kind of story, I would say,
Yeah.
last, because this case is a little bit different, because also it is 23 victims, and majority of them I only have a very like a sentence or two on.
Yeah.
So long
And it was too
ago.
long ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and I will go over each one of them. And like I said earlier, also please keep in mind that these were a lot of these were young boys.
Yeah.
So first, we are going to start with William Eckfeldt was the first reported victim identified. His father identified his son's mangled body at the scene by the socks he still wore.
Oh no.
William had attended church that morning for the holiday service at the 3rd Congressional Church. This is where he also enjoyed attending Sunday school. He wore a suit that day to church and then to the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so sad to think about. Like, you're just going to church, no idea what's going to happen to you later.
Yeah. Okay, so William Eckfeldt was 12 years old then. William Valencia, who was either 17 or 18, I found two different reports, was the grandson of General Valencia, who was well known in the San Francisco area. William worked at a copper shop. His co-workers were his pallbearers. He was buried in Holy Cross Cemetery. 11-year-old Edgar Flahaven was a student that attended Mission Grammar School. He was a big fan of Berkeley. When he left that morning to go to see the game, he had kissed his mom goodbye, and she sent him on his way.
None of their parents went with them. They're all so young.
It's a different time.
It was
such a different time because they were probably going so far away too, like
yeah,
like blocks. I mean, I'm not saying like miles, but like I mean maybe.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
They're kids, you know. His coffin at his service was displayed with a beautiful football-shaped flower arrangement in blue and gold for his favorite team.
Aww.
Yeah. The oldest victim of this tragedy was 46-year-old Mech Van Dyke. He preferred to go by Mark or Marcus. He was an immigrant from Holland who worked as a minister. The youngest victim was 9-year-old Lawrence Meal. He just turned 9 the month before. His mom had no idea he had gone to the game that day. He was conscious when he arrived at the hospital, where his mom, who was a school teacher, stayed by his side the entire time. His funeral service was held at his house on 23rd Street, where hundreds attended his service. He had decorated his room with a bunch of football players and was a big fan of football. Most of these victims had lived within walking distance to the field, and he was, 23rd Street, and the stadium was on 16th.
Yeah.
So that's an example of how far some of them were walking. 13 people were declared dead the day of the accident, while the other passed in the following days. 15-year-old Hector McNeil was the first victim to be buried. Him and his family moved a few months prior from Texas. It was him, his mother, and a younger sister. He was the main provider for the family and worked at the White House flower shop and a dry goods store during the day, and had attended the YMCA high school night school overnight.
I wonder what his family did then after he passed.
I know, it's really sad.
Yeah.
Because it was just the younger sister
Mom
and mom
had to get a job, I guess.
Yeah. Well, back then, it's very hard for a woman to get a job, is what the problem was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I wonder what they did.
Yeah. And he was 15 years old, and attending night school, working 2 jobs during the day. He's just trying to enjoy a day. Like, he probably never got time to himself and was
right. You probably never had a day off.
Yeah. A 15-year-old working. Yeah. He was loved by his boss and his coworkers, and they came together to raise the money to pay for his funeral. He left that day to the game with 50 cents in his pocket and promises that he would be back for dinner. Oh. He was buried in Laurel Hill Cemetery. 34-year-old Charles Monahan died at the local hospital days after arriving. He was unconscious when he arrived and never woke up. He suffered a skull fracture and internal injuries. The only way they were able to ID him was papers that they found in his pocket.
That's sad.
Yeah. He had a job as a laundry attendant and was from San Jose. And you'll see, like, with a lot of these victims, and you probably could already predict this, Kirsten, it's like, we're not just talking blunt force trauma, internal bleeding here. The burns start coming up later, too. Like, right now, it's a lot of skull fractures and people who probably fell 4 stories.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, we focused a lot on the furnace, but people who didn't hit the furnace fell 4 stories.
Yeah.
That's a long distance to fall.
And he probably got, like, knocked out right away.
Yeah.
When he landed.
Oh, God, we can hope.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he didn't realize what happened.
No.
Because it said he never woke up.
Yep. 21-year-old Fred Lilly died a few days later with a skull fracture where his frontal bone was caved in.
Oh.
And he also had internal injuries. He was in San Francisco for only a few weeks. His father, who was a New York merchant, came out to take his body home for proper burial. And you also see, like, as that is an example, his father was rich. Like, we have all different backgrounds. You'll see also, you can tell different backgrounds from the different funeral services that people have. Some are more grand than others and stuff. And it's like, they all came from different backgrounds of, like, how they all wound up on that roof is a different story, but, 24-year-old Thomas Rippin died at home the same day with a spinal injury, skull fracture, and a broken femur. His funeral was at Sacred Heart Church, where his friends could finally mourn for his sudden loss. Because, I mean, this also was, like, so sudden. These people are so young. He was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery. 39-year-old Eben Pearson Tice also died at home, but on December 1st, so a few days later, he left behind a wife, a 2-year-old, and an 11-month-old.
Aww.
He worked at Hazlitt Warehouse Company. His co-workers were his pallbearers. The service was held at Golden Gate Undertaking Company, and he was buried in Laurel Hill Cemetery. 15-year-old Robert Miller was another hardworking young man. He was a messenger for Nathan Bowman's and Company. His co-workers loved him and were also his pallbearers. His employer paid for his funeral. He grew up in Protestant orphan asylum.
Aww.
He was adopted 3 years before his death. His father and friend had to identify his body. He was also buried at Laurel Hill Cemetery.
Well, I hope his adoptive parents showed him some love for those 3 years.
I hope so. Their name was Mrs. Morrison, I remember, and I don't know, kind of sounds like a homey little.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it was like a little grandma. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
I know.
I really, really do. Honestly, probably anything was better than an orphan asylum type of thing. So
check out our haunted lakes and orphanages episode to hear some crazy stories
about an orphanage. Yeah,
yeah, and an asylum.
Yeah, both. The only info I could find on 38-year-old J.A. Mulroney. I put in good effort.
You did. One of those has to be right.
I'm probably way wrong. So he was identified by the card that was in his pocket, and he had died the day of the accident. And that's unfortunately all the information I have on him. 15-year-old Charles Cummings worked as an errand boy for Southern Pacific, and he died a few days after the accident as well. 19-year-old John Burrow, maybe, died the next day from burns he sustained as he was one of the victims removed from the furnace. He worked as a law clerk at R.B. Mitchell's.
I can't imagine even having to get all the bodies out.
Yeah, I mean, because they were getting a lot of them in the hospitals and stuff too, but I'm sure out of these victims,
there's no way they were able to get all of them out.
No, right away. Yeah. No. They probably, a lot of these wound up dead on scene. It's just they probably weren't pronounced or anything when they were, because it was probably chaos, like I said. I
can't imagine having to carry out a body that was left
burned,
of a body.
Yeah, like burned to, I don't mean to say it, but to a crisp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 500 degrees will get you there.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being trapped on that.
Does it sound like a lot of these funerals were in caskets?
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
I guess there was something left?
Yeah. I mean, but I think it was just like probably a lot of burns.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still have a full body and be totally burned type of thing. And I'm wondering if that's what a lot of it was.
But the skin starts to melt.
I know, but remember in the beginning, James Davis, the superintendent, was using a metal poker to try and get bodies off. So maybe some of the people who, even though they died, but he was able to get them off where they weren't like totally cremated type of burn type of thing. And he said he saved 20 people. It didn't say like, we have no idea. Hopefully all those people lived or whatever, but Talleyrand Barnwell, I like that name.
That's a cool name.
Was 15 years old. He attended the School of Mechanical Arts. He was one of 5 children, and it was his youngest brother who identified him.
A lot of 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's an appropriate age for boys to start being into football like that. Some of the younger ones probably was like had an influence of an older brother even or father figure, but I feel like 15 is a good age for them to get into sports like that. His classmates were his pallbearers, and he was buried at Cypress Lawn Cemetery. 13-year-old Ellery Crandell was taken to St. Luke's Hospital with serious injuries, where he died a few days later. He had injuries to his extremities, and doctors think he could have died from shock.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, especially if
you lose a lot of fluid with burns.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times burns that it takes you out is like honestly your body just can't keep up with like the deterioration type of thing. Oh, what a terrible way.
Yeah.
He lived around the corner on Market Street with his mother, who was separated from his father, who still lived in San Jose. He was the man of the house and main breadwinner at 13.
Wow.
He worked as a messenger for S.N. Wood and Company. His employer paid for his service, and he was buried in Irvington, which has since changed its name to Fremont. Fremont, probably. Fremont. I cackle at myself. 16-year-old Leon Gerard attended, who was, Jesus. I know I wanted another word in there. 16-year-old Leon Gerard was a schoolboy who lived around the corner on Mission Street, and he died the next day. He was born and raised in California, and that was all the info I could find on him. My foot's asleep again. 15-year-old Robert Harrison had traveled across the country from what I believe to be Iowa, because that is where he is then buried. He was thought to be a runaway at first, but his parents stated that he wanted to see the West Coast. So him and a friend traveled to Topeka, Kansas. He wrote his parents a letter from there, talking about all the adventures that he had experienced and that he planned to return home after the game. His father had thanked the city for taking care of his son's body afterwards, because, yeah.
It's a young age to travel across the country.
And, I mean, I feel like, how were they traveling? Do you know what I mean? Like, how, I don't even know. Like, how were they traveling?
Yeah, that's true. I don't.
Yeah, just picturing
maybe if they could afford a train ticket
part
of the way.
Yeah, maybe train, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But they made their way over there.
Yeah, they did.
You know, I mean, maybe that's a good note to put on him, is like he was living wild and free to the end, you know?
Yeah.
Good for him.
He was exploring.
Yeah, he was. 16-year-old Dante Monaco suffered a skull fracture, dying the next day. He attended Lick School. He had a brother, sister, and his mother that he was leaving behind. 15-year-old Virgil Newby was an only child raised in Dixon, California. He had a very big funeral in Dixon at the Baptist Church. Why do I keep saying today? There was a procession of the Knights of Pythias and Foresters of America when he was buried at IOF Cemetery. The Dixon and the Danville Band also played at his service. So again, different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was a big old grand service that he had and stuff. And maybe, I didn't look it up, but maybe Dixon's a very rich area. I don't know. 15-year-old Moses Odenstein was found in a condition I could only find described as mangled. He was taken to Receiving Hospital, where he died the next day. He lived on Folsom Street and was born with a medical condition that caused one leg to be longer than the other. Cornelius McMahon was a 12-year-old student excited for football. He was taken to the local hospital, where he died the next day from his severe burns and skull fracture. His mother never left his side and said he was so excited about the game that he didn't sleep the night before. St. Dominic's Church is where his service was, and he was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery. His classmates were his pallbearers. The final victim of this tragedy died 3 years later. 28-year-old Thomas Pedler. He suffered a spinal injury that day and endured years of surgeries, pain, and the amputation of both of his legs.
Oh, man.
He eventually died from all of these complications, adding to the final count of 23 victims.
That's sad. He just suffered for 3 years.
For 3 years, yeah. Them trying to, like, back then trying to fix him. Could you, like, they had no.
Yeah.
I don't mean it, but they had no business doing spinal surgeries and stuff like that back then.
Yeah,
you know. So poor thing suffered for 3 years like that. There is no more memorial for this tragic event, and even the graves of these victims are hard to find. there was a failed regulation. There were failed regulations to keep up with graveyards in San Francisco, so they were left to rot away. And a lot of the graves have no headstones and are impossible to find, unfortunately.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And that is the tragic story that I never knew about.
It's an understatement.
I enjoy my football. I'm not a big college football person, but I had no idea that there was like big tragedies like that, especially happening on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So
very sad.
Yeah, and a lot of victims in that one.
Yeah.
A lot of young victims.
Very young. Yeah. So it's kind of a heavy episode.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, go enjoy that. What's it called? Tetra. Whatever that stuff is in Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah.
We'll go take a nap on that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one.
Yeah. And maybe we'll do a Christmas theme. I don't know.
Yeah, we're looking at we'll probably do some sort of Christmassy true crime episode.
Yeah. So
next month.
There's something to look out for.
Yeah.
Make like a shadow and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast.
Check us out on TikTok at
Lurking in the Shadows Pod.
Any questions, concerns, or case suggestions, shoot us a Gmail at
Lurking in the Shadows Podcast at gmail.com. And keep lurking around for our next episode.
Bye.